Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Senator, thank you for being a workhorse. I mean, you were voting on the Senate floor in D.C. last night. You're on a plane early this morning, and you made time to come to Mankato. So thank you. Thank you for your friendship and your leadership. Governor, thank you. Welcome back home to Mankato. Welcome back home to the 1st Congressional District. And I very just personally want to say thank you for your service. Thank you. I would also like to thank, I see a couple County Veteran Service officers here, Greg, Mike, a few others. I just want to thank you for what you do for our communities. I hear so often that we, from a government perspective, don't quite have it figured out. When we have men and women leaving active duty, the bus drops you off with the duffel bag and say, here you go. And so we have to do a better job, and I think the counties do such a great job of really trying to walk the men and women from that active duty status into veteran status. So I just want to thank you as the County Veteran Service officers for being here. I had a couple prepared remarks, but then hearing Dr. Ward speak, I started to recalculate a little bit. So I want to tell you a little story. I've known many veterans my whole life, but this veteran stands out, and I've known him as long as I have a memory. And he is a 104-year-old World War II veteran named Paul Wojan. Paul Wojan from the New Ulm area is my first cousin once removed. So I had to look that up this morning because I'm like, he's my cousin, right? Well, he's my dad's cousin, so that means he's once removed. Quick show of hands, how many of you met Paul? All right. So those of you that just raised your hands, you didn't just meet him, you probably sat and talked with him for hours because that guy can talk. He can tell you stories, and his stories are so fascinating. And so ever since I was a young boy growing up on the farm, Paul was a part of our life, obviously his family, but his stories and his love and commitment to our family, to our country, and to our community was something that was just instilled in me from a very young age. My wife and I are very blessed, and I'm very honored to own the Wojan farm today. And Dr. Ward, you also said something about the Norwegian heritage in southern Minnesota. For the first 15 years of my life, I thought it was the Wojan farm because of my Norwegian grandfather. So it's good to hear you put all that together. But Paul's story isn't a story of just his service and just of the battles that he faced when he was, in active duty in World War II. His story started much younger on the farm, like so many of you in this room, so many of you that have served in Minnesota, in our communities. Paul and his brothers all, joined the military. They were tinkerers, they were fixers, they were mechanics. They knew how to make things work with duct tape and JD Weld. And the military welcomed them very happily. Paul tells the story many times of different missions that he was on, that his farmer fix-it abilities came in handy and saved lives. And I know a lot of you in this room could probably say that same thing. And I think it speaks so much to the heritage that we have in Minnesota. Hardworking, love of country, love of neighbor, love of family. And that's what we really celebrate today. We celebrate your commitment, your love of your neighbors that you maybe have never met, your love of country, and your commitment to serve that great country that you love. And so Paul's story is that. Two quick funny stories. So my wife and I owning that farm now, there's been a lot of questions over the years that come up when I find things on this farm that Paul grew up on. One, we were redoing a pasture and I found this huge boulder at the corner of the pasture, but there was a hole in it. And this hole was clearly chiseled out. So I had an event where I saw Paul and I said, hey Paul, tell me about this big rock that I found with this hole in it. He just looked at me and he smiled and he said, well, we learned how to use dynamite when I was in the military. And we didn't know how to get that rock out of there, so we started chiseling it away, and my plan was to dynamite that rock. So that speaks to, again, Paul. The other piece is we have an 18-acre nice flat pasture on this land, and I asked Paul, I said, it's kind of narrow towards the end, and it seems like it was made not just for the pasture. What was that all about? And he smiled once again, and he said, well, we didn't have a lot of time off when we were in the military, but when we did, we would, we all could fly, or we figured out how to fly, so we wanted to land right on the farm. So they had a little runway where they were landing planes right on our farm, and that speaks to his sense of adventure, and I think that story could be told for a lot of you in this room. I will close with this, a little hope. Senator Klobuchar and I serve in a Congress right now that by all means is functionally dysfunctional. And I think we can all attest to some frustrations with the politics of today, what is and what isn't working in government. But I'm here to tell you that Senator Klobuchar and I work shoulder to shoulder on a lot of issues. And when I look at veterans issues, I serve on the Armed Services Committee. I don't look at Amy and see a senator with a sweatshirt with a D on it. She doesn't look at me as a Republican member of Congress with a sweatshirt with an R on it. We look at each other and we see USA. And so we have to continue to lean into that, lean into our relationships where we can find common ground. I mean, Benjamin Franklin's rolling over in his grave right now because we have the bald eagle as our national bird and not the turkey, so we did that. But there's a lot of work ahead of us. The Mankato Vet Center, we have to see that through. We have to continue to support it. We have to continue to support our county veteran service officers and strengthen them and give them more resources and opportunities to be that direct handoff from our active military to our veteran status. We have to continue to work with our VA. We have to continue to work to make sure that our services are provided as locally as possible, first class as possible, and make sure that we are giving the dignity and care that you all have earned and deserve. And so that's what Amy and I continue to work on. And I will tell you that despite the news and the media trying to show us and tell us that we hate each other, we don't. We don't. We find ways to work together and to really care for our neighbors and to continue to push this great country forward. And so, for those of you that have served our country, thank you. For those of you that are family members in the audience, thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice, your commitment, your keeping the home front burning when your spouse, your family member raised their hand to serve our great country. And for those of you that are in the back of the room, I see a lot of law enforcement. Thank you for your service. Thank you for protecting our communities and being there for us when we need you in the worst of times. And I just will finish with this. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.